Yes, it's another episode. It is episode 33. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. It's just taking a long-ass time. So, in today's episode, we're going to be covering when knowledge equals death. And I have in brackets, PodFade. Because PodFade is a thing. PodFade is something that my beloved podcast has suffered from, and I'm slowly but surely pulling myself from the tar pit of despair and coming back strong. If you're watching this live, I am not going to explain my getup. I am a complete and utter husk of my former self right now. Fun fact, I fractured my toe, my big toe on my right foot, my right big toe. I fractured my right big toe on, is it Good Friday? I think it's Good Friday. It's Good Friday. I fractured my big right toe on Good Friday. And as a result, I am hobbling around like a hobble thing and feeling a little bit sorry for myself, if I'm honest. But, you know, I had a couple of days off, did the whole Easter thing, even though I don't really do Easter because I'm Jewish-ish. Really, really big emphasis on the ish. And did nothing. Although I did eat a couple of Easter eggs. That was delicious. And then I regretted it because I haven't eaten sugar for a month. And then I ate it. And then I had a sugar high and then a sugar crash. And I actually felt kind of sick. That's normal. Why am I trying to make it sound like it's not normal? It's very normal. So, yes, today's marvelous episode is around when too much knowledge equals death. And I'm not being all scary and sad about the death thing, because I talk about death a lot. I think death should be normalized because it happens to everybody. No one lives forever. Yeah, I've got topics. So if you see me, you know, on the live thing, on the video thing, if you see me looking up, it's because I have this whole freaking Matrix style screen array at home now. It's great. And all my notes, I have notes now. I have notes because a friend told me I should have notes, and I'm like, I don't do notes, I shoot from the hip. And now I have notes like an adult. Oh. So PodFade is a phrase I picked up from a podcast summit I attended virtually, I think a month ago now. It was a lot. It was a lot of humaning without humaning through my phone. And it absolutely just messed with my head. Like, I recorded all of them. Naughty, I know, but I recorded all of them so I could watch them at a later date. And one of the things I picked up on was this idea of PodFade. And it's going to be a huge phenomenon. It is already a huge phenomenon. Banana. But it's going to get bigger. They say on average, you know, podcast shows maybe last about 7 episodes and then they die. I have noticed, because I've been a fan of podcasts since I think it must have been Stephen Fry before Tim Ferriss, and he had podgrams and they were really fun. And that must have been like 2006 or something. And yeah, you know, I noticed that certain people would come and go and come and go and come and go, and that was a thing. But now, like, I noticed with my job, which I'm going to get to in a second, that it would be like 7 months or 10 months, which I suppose, you know, if someone's doing an episode a month, then it makes sense. But if someone's doing an episode a week, then that's kind of like 27 episodes, 28 episodes or something. 5, 6, 7, 8, 28 episodes. 4 by 7 is 28. My maths is terrible. So that's the average I've been seeing just from now actually being in this professional arena. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because the aspect of knowledge equaling death, I'm pulling way, way, way back into the space of hobbies, right? Exactly. There's people commenting on Facebook, hey guys, and you guys are kind of tapping onto what I'm going to kind of like talk about is when you have something you're really, really passionate about, and this can happen before you need to pay bills. It usually does happen before you need to pay bills. You're like, everything about your hobby is so exciting. It's so fresh. It's so magical. It's crazy how much you love like getting into this thing. So for me, I think the first one was dancing. I'm a mover. I love moving. I love wiggling. I love just like music kind of taking over my body, and I just shake and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm having a good time. And then that started getting formalized with ballet and tap dance and like contemporary dance. I hate learning contemporary dance. It was just so contrived in comparison to watching family members do like tribal African dancing, which wasn't even anything professional. It's just us having a good time to, rhythms and stuff, and being told, no, you have to have your hands here and you have to have position 1, position 2, put the fingers out, extend them, have a slight bend in the elbow, be soft and dainty but strong. I'm just like, bitch, what the like it's stupid, right? But that's the problem, right? So when your hobby starts getting structure, for the most part, that's really, really helpful. But other times, and I found this, when things started getting too structured and too restricted, and I wasn't allowed to go and stretch and feel and touch and be, the magic died. Right. So the more knowledge I got, the more frameworks and all that kind of stuff I got for things, the less into it I was, So with dancing at the beginning, I dropped the contemporary dance. I dropped the ballet mainly because my teacher was an absolute dragon. She was like this old Italian lady with like a bit of a hunchback and a cane. Y'all remember those? This is early 90s. She had a cane. And if you didn't put your position, like your foot position right, she would like smack the back of your legs with a fucking cane. Yeah, contemporary dance can do one. And if you haven't seen my face, and if you're listening to this on Thursday, because I'm holding myself accountable, this is coming out on Thursday as well as a sexy edited version of this. If you haven't seen me, I'm black, right? And I got a butt, okay? And I have slight tilting in my pelvis, right? And it's a normal thing. Like most African people, because we've got thick thighs and we've got a butt, like we have a slight tilt, right? I think it's it tilts forward. My brain is so mushed up this morning. It tilts forward, basically. So our butts stick out and our lower backs, we've got slight lordosis of the spine, whatever. But it's normal for us. So my old school, yes, Italian ballet teacher would tell me to straighten up and tuck my butt in. And I'm like, where do you want me to tuck my butt into? Like, sorry, I'm smashing the table. Seriously, there is nowhere for my butt to go. Like, I don't understand what you're expecting me to do. Like, my anatomy is set in a specific way, and I am literally as straight as I possibly can be in position 1. Hands are where they need to be. I can't help that my butt has a mind of its own, okay? And I think I actually said that to her once, and she just slapped the back of my legs again and said, upright. And I'm just like, for fuck's sake. So I persevered with the ballet thing for a while, and then discovered gymnastics, where it's just like, no, let's teach you the basics and then do whatever the hell you want. I was just like, yes, give me the things. And then our gymnastics teacher died. So, that was the thing. And now I just, do my own thing when it comes to movement and stuff. But yeah, so that was my first experience with this idea of loving a phenomenon that is a hobby. And then my parents saw that I loved it, so they put me in the education system for it rather than letting me just freely play music at home and do stupid stuff, which now probably would go viral on Vine and TikTok, if I'm honest, just humble brag. So that was my first experience. And over time, I've always loved music. I know there's a music episode I should be doing at some point, but I can honestly say doing that episode actually terrifies me. I don't know why. I don't know why. And I'm not going to even try and unpack that now, because that's probably a 2-hour episode in and of itself. But music, I've always loved music. I've played instruments. I used to say 11, but I think I've pulled that down to 8 just because I haven't played a few of them in a while, and I don't think I'm quite good enough anymore. but I play a lot of instruments. I have relative pitch, so you can hum something back at me. I can hum it back and harmonize it and transpose it, up and down or whatever you need. That's a natural talent I have from my biological father, which I confirmed when I met him a few years ago and we spoke about this. He can play fretted instruments. I play fretless instruments. And if you don't know what a fret is, think of guitars where they got the lines and everything, and then think of a cello or a violin where we don't have lines because we're that elite. Yeah. So I'm a musical human being, and music was something I did my whole entire life, and really got stuck into it. And as I went from GCSEs, because I'm educated in the British system of things, from Kenya. We had GCSEs over there. I studied music, and, it was a thing. Music theory bores me to tears. I understand it. This is interesting. I understand the rules, but I prefer to kind of push them and break them and go into interesting things. So that's one avenue that hobbies can kind of go into. If you understand and respect the rules that are given to you and understand that they're there for you to have a solid foundation, and then you go off and do your own thing, that's great. And it took my maths teacher, who I don't know, I haven't spoken to Mrs. Andrews in ages. It's weird how you talk about teachers as an adult and you still call them Mr. or Mrs. or whatever you call them at school when you were a kid, even though you're a grown-ass adult. And so Mrs. Andrews was a maths teacher, and she was also a trombonist. So whenever I played in the school orchestra, this is now in England, not in Kenya, I've moved over, I would always sit next to her because we're the bass section, a very weird, tiny orchestra compared to the big 64 piece I used to play back in Kenya. And she would teach me maths and music at the same time whilst I was learning to sight read. I can't sight read music, and I will always be the first one to say I can't sight read music because I have relative pitch. So I'm just like, play the thing to me once. I've got it. That's it. I'm good. I don't need to, I'll look at the music for rhythms, and then that's it. Like, everything else is not really something I pay attention to. Look, this is turning into a music episode. Anyway, so music kind of turned into a thing that I loved, and it's always something that I have because, yes, there's rules, but also, yes, you can go do your own thing. And then I started looking at, hey, maybe I can turn this into something I do for life, right? You're 17 years old and people start going, what do you want to do with your life? Which I think is stupid, by the way. Trying to tell a being, a human, that you have been mollycoddling for 17 years and telling them to do as you say, not as you do, to follow this, to follow that, to be restricted, and then all of a sudden say, yalla, out. Yeah? It doesn't make sense, It's just like it's rude. It's rude, especially when you ask a 7-year-old, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" "I want to be an architect," right? 18 years old, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I want to go travel for a bit. No. You have to do something. So it's kind of crazy how, when you understand there's more to life, people restrict you. So 17 years old, I'm trying to think of what I want to do with life. I started studying music technology for A levels. So GCSEs. Did I do music GCSEs? I didn't do music GCSE. I was in the music department a lot. Yeah, I did that as a kid. If I liked a place, I'll go and really be friendly with the teachers and help them and see how I could help them as much as possible. And then they'd let me hang out in their department. I did that a lot. Fun stories behind those ones, but I'll leave those for another episode. Again, so music technology, I looked into it, I did it, and studying it was fun because it was still here are the rules / guidelines. Learn them, understand them, and now go and break them. And Mr. Long, another music teacher, ex-military, was really, really good at saying, just do this, right? Just do what the syllabus asks you to do, and then do whatever the fuck you want. And I'm just like, yes, let's go. And I think that freedom is really, really important. And that's what you get in schools. That's one of the good things you get in schools, if you get a good teacher. But after that, I was like, okay, let's take it to university. And I took it to university.